Thief! Seize him!" The words rang through the palace courtyard like thunder, and I stood there, dripping wet, confused, my hands still shaking from pulling a dying man out of the river. How did saving a life turn into this? Let me go back to where it all started, just hours before, when the morning sun was still kind and my biggest worry was catching breakfast. My name is David, and I'm nobody special. Just a 15-year-old boy from Akim village, living with my grandmother in a mud hut near the river. My parents? Gone since I was 7. Fever took them both in the same week. Grandma Amma is all I have left, and she's getting older, her hands too weak to farm anymore, so I fish. Every morning, I take my rusty hook and worn line down to the Offen River and hope the ancestors bless me with enough fish to sell at the market. That Thursday morning felt no different. The air was cool, the river calm, and I sat on my favorite rock, bare feet dangling in the water. I was humming an old song Grandma taught me when I heard it, a sound that didn't belong. Splashing. Desperate, violent splashing. I looked upstream and my heart jumped. A horse was thrashing in the deep part of the river, its eyes wild with panic, and on its back a man in fine clothes was sinking, his arms flailing like broken wings. "Help! I cannot swim!" His voice was weak, swallowed by water. I didn't think. I just moved. I dropped my fishing line and dove in, my thin body cutting through the current. The river tried to pull me under too, but I've swum these waters since I could walk. I kicked hard, my arms burning as I fought toward him. When I reached the man, he grabbed me with the strength of someone who thought they were dying. We both went under. Water filled my nose, my lungs screaming. But I remembered what Grandma always said. Fear drowns more people than water does. I wrapped my arm around his chest and kicked until my legs felt like stones, kicked until we broke the surface, kicked until I dragged him to the shallow bank where we both collapsed, coughing up river water. He lay there gasping like a fish out of water, his expensive wrapper soaked and muddy. Gold rings shone on his fingers. A leather pouch hung from his waist. This was no village man. This was someone important. "Are you all right, sir?" I asked, between breaths. He couldn't speak yet, just nodded, his chest heaving. His horse had already swum to safety downstream, shaking water from its black coat. I sat with him until his breathing calmed. He finally looked at me, really looked at me, and something strange crossed his face. Not gratitude. Something else. Suspicion? Fear? I couldn't tell. "What is your name, boy?" His voice was rough, noble. "David, sir, from Akim village. You saved my life, David." He touched his throat like he couldn't believe he was still breathing. "I am Chief Kofi, the king's advisor." My eyes went wide. The king's advisor! I'd pulled royalty from the river. "I must return to the palace," he said, standing slowly. "The king will hear of this." Pride filled my chest. Maybe there would be a reward. Maybe enough to buy medicine for Grandma's cough. Maybe even a new fishing net. "Sir, the palace is far," I said. "Let me walk with you. Make sure you arrive safely." He hesitated. That strange look again, but he nodded. "Very well." We walked together through the forest path, him limping slightly, me carrying my fishing things. I tried to make conversation, but Chief Kofi stayed quiet, touching his leather pouch every few minutes like he was checking something. When the palace gates appeared through the trees, my heart raced with excitement. The tall walls, the guards in red cloth, the drums echoing from within. I'd never been this close to the palace before. Chief Kofi walked faster now, leaving me behind. I hurried to catch up. That's when everything changed. He turned to the guards and pointed at me. "Seize that boy! He tried to rob me!" The world stopped spinning. The guards' hands were rough on my shoulders, their fingers digging into my skin like claws. My fishing hook fell to the ground, forgotten. "No! I saved him!" My voice cracked with panic. "He was drowning! I pulled him out!" "Lies!" Chief Kofi's voice boomed across the courtyard. People were gathering now, servants, other chiefs, curious faces peering from windows. This boy followed me from the river. He's been watching my purse the entire journey. He waits for his chance to steal. My mouth went dry. How could he say this? I had risked my life for him. "Search him," Chief Kofi commanded. The guards patted me down roughly. They found nothing because I had nothing. Just wet clothes, bare feet, and a heart breaking into pieces. "He threw it away when he saw the palace," Chief Kofi said smoothly. "Clever thief, but I know what I saw. His eyes never left my belongings." "That's not true!" Tears burned my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. "I only wanted to make sure you reached home safely. You were weak from almost drowning." One of the guards laughed. "A poor river boy worried about a chief? More likely you saw an opportunity." The crowd murmured. I could see it in their faces. They believed him. Of course they did. He wore gold and fine cloth. I wore rags and river mud. Who would believe a nobody like me? "Bring him before the king," Chief Kofi declared. "Let his majesty decide the punishment for this ungrateful wretch." They dragged me through the palace gates. My feet scraped against smooth stone floors I'd only dreamed of seeing. But there was no wonder in my heart now, only fear. The throne room was magnificent tall pillars, woven tapestries, the smell of incense. And there, on a carved wooden throne, sat King Osei. His face was serious, his gray beard long and wise. The golden crown on his head caught the sunlight streaming through the windows. I was thrown to my knees before him. "Your Majesty," Chief Kofi bowed deeply, "I bring before you a thief who tried to rob me after I fell into the river." The king's eyes moved to me. They were sharp, like they could see through walls. "What is your name, boy?" "D. David, Your Majesty." My voice trembled. "From a Kim village. And what do you say to this accusation?" I took a deep breath. If I was going to be punished for a crime I didn't commit, at least I would speak the truth first. "Your Majesty, I was fishing this morning when I saw Chief Kofi drowning. His horse threw him in the deep water and he couldn't swim. I jumped in and pulled him out. He was coughing, almost dead. I sat with him until he could breathe again. When he said he needed to return to the palace, I offered to walk with him to make sure he arrived safely. That's all I did. I swear on my grandmother's life I never tried to steal anything." The throne room was silent. Chief Kofi's face turned red. "Lies," he shouted. "Why would a common boy risk his life for a stranger? It makes no sense. Clearly he saw my wealth and planned to rob me later. But I didn't rob you," I said quietly. "Everything you had when I pulled you out, you still have now." Chief Kofi touched his leather pouch. "Only because you were caught before you could act." King Osei raised his hand for silence. He studied both of us for a long moment. Then he did something unexpected. He smiled. "Chief Kofi," the king said slowly, "tell me, when did you fall in the river?" "This morning, Your Majesty, just after dawn." "And your horse? The black stallion you left the palace with?" It ran off after throwing me." The king nodded. Then he looked at me. "David, describe Chief Kofi's horse." I blinked, confused. "It's black, Your Majesty, with a white mark on its front right leg, and it was wearing a red saddle with gold stitching." The king's smile grew wider. He clapped his hands once, and a guard hurried forward. "Bring me the horse that was found wandering near the river gate this morning." My heart pounded as we waited. Within minutes, the guard returned leading a beautiful black horse, white mark on the front right leg, red saddle with gold stitching. Chief Kofi's face went pale. "Strange," King Osei said, his voice like silk over stone. "This horse arrived at our gates 2 hours ago, alone, before Chief Kofi returned, before David arrived." He leaned forward on his throne. "Now tell me, Chief Kofi, if this boy wanted to rob you, why would he bring you all the way to the palace? Why not take your purse by the river where no one could see? Why not let you drown and take everything then?" The throne room erupted in whispers. Chief Kofi opened his mouth, but no words came out. And in that moment, I finally understood. He had accused me not because I was a thief, but because he was ashamed that a poor village boy had seen him weak and helpless, ashamed that he owed his life to someone he considered beneath him. King Osei stood from his throne, and everyone in the room held their breath. Even the air seemed to stop moving. "Chief Kofi," the king's voice was no longer kind, "you have served in my court for 12 years. I trusted you with important matters. And yet today, you tried to punish an innocent boy for saving your life. Why?" Chief Kofi fell to his knees. His fine clothes suddenly looked too big for him, like they belonged to someone else. "Your Majesty, I was confused. The near drowning, it clouded my judgment." "No," I heard myself say. Everyone turned to look at me, surprised that I dared speak. But something inside me had shifted. I wasn't afraid anymore. "He wasn't confused, Your Majesty. He was ashamed." The king's eyebrow raised. "Explain, David." I looked at Chief Kofi, and for the first time, I saw him clearly not as someone powerful, but as someone afraid. When I pulled him from the water, he was helpless, weak, coughing like a baby. I think he couldn't bear that a poor village boy saw him that way. So he decided to make me look bad instead. If I was a thief, then he wasn't weak. He was just a victim of a criminal. The silence in the throne room was so thick you could touch it. Chief Kofi's shoulders began to shake, and then, to everyone's shock, he started crying. Not quiet tears, but deep sobs that came from somewhere buried inside him. "The boy speaks the truth," he whispered. "I'm a proud fool. When I woke up on that riverbank and saw his poor clothes, his simple face looking down at me with concern, I felt so small. How could I, Chief Kofi, advisor to the king, owe my life to a nobody? What would people say? What would the other chiefs think?" He looked up at me, his face wet with tears. "I am sorry, David. I am so deeply sorry. You gave me life, and I tried to take your dignity. I am the thief here. I tried to steal your good name." My anger melted away like morning mist, because I understood something then hurt people. And Chief Kofi, for all his golden status, was drowning in his own pride long before he fell into that river. "I forgive you," I said softly. The words surprised even me. But they were true. Holding on to anger would make me just as trapped as he was. King Osei walked down from his throne and stood before both of us. "Chief Kofi, your position in this court is removed. Not as punishment, but as medicine. You need time to remember who you are beneath the titles and gold. Go home, think deeply. When your heart is healed, perhaps we will speak again." Chief Kofi nodded, still crying, and was led away by guards, not as a prisoner, but as someone being helped to find his way. The king turned to me. "David of Akeem village, you have shown more wisdom than men twice your age. You risked your life for a stranger. You spoke truth when lies would have been safer, and you forgave when bitterness would have been easier." He placed his hand on my shoulder. "What reward would you ask of your king?" I thought about medicine for Grandma, about a new fishing net, about all the things we needed. But then I remembered Chief Kofi's tears, and I understood that some things matter more than gold. "Your Majesty, I need nothing, but, if you're willing, I would ask something for my village. Our children have no school. Our sick have no healer. We manage, but we could do better. If you could help us with these things, that would mean everything." The king smiled, the warmest smile I'd ever seen. "It will be done. And David, you will not return to your village as just a fisherman. I name you youth counselor to the palace. You will help me understand the needs of common people, especially the young ones. You will have a salary, a house for you and your grandmother, and access to education. But you will remain yourself honest, humble, and kind. Can you do this?" My legs felt weak. Yes, Your Majesty. I promise to always stay true. 3 months passed like a dream. Grandma and I moved into a small but comfortable house near the palace. A school was built in Akeem village, and a healer moved there to help the sick. I worked with the king, learning to read and write, speaking for young people who had no voice. And Chief Kofi? He returned after 2 months, different, quieter, kinder. He apologized to me again, properly this time, and asked if he could help with the village projects. The king agreed, and we worked together, 2 people who were once enemies, now building something good. One evening, as Grandma and I sat outside our new home watching the sunset, she squeezed my hand. You could have been bitter, David. Could have wanted revenge. Why weren't you? I thought about the river, about how it doesn't hold grudges against those who fall in. It just is. Because bitterness is another kind of drowning, Grandma, and I've already saved 1 person from that. I didn't want to drown in it myself. She smiled and kissed my forehead. Your parents would be so proud. That night, I slept peacefully, knowing that sometimes the greatest rescue isn't pulling someone from water, it's pulling them from the prison of their own pride. And in freeing them, we free ourselves too. Remember, the greatest strength isn't in revenge, it's in choosing kindness even when you've been wronged. Like David, you have the power to break the cycle of hurt and create something beautiful instead. What would you have done in David's place? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to pass this story to someone who needs to hear it today. Sometimes, one story can change a heart forever.